News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. And this is pretty crazy. All this information coming in. There's so much coming in. And I'm going to make sense of it to the best of my abilities here. But it's looking much better for the most part right now for Trump than it is for Kamala. And there's many things. You've got the brand new Stephanie Ruhle interview from MSNBC coming out, and Kamala does a lot of dodging. I played you a lot of the excerpts. And let's see, I think I've got one that is, here's the best one. This is from her spokesperson on CNN Squawk Box. So this is where you really can't fool them for business stuff. And this is Senator Chris Coons. Listen to this about the economy and why it's so bad. And he says it really was bad under Trump.
Part of it is that Americans, when you ask the question, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago, many Americans misremember just how bad the economy was 4 years ago and how strong our economic recovery from the pandemic has been.
So are you misremembering how good the economy was, how bad the economy was under Trump? Are you misremembering it? Is it you that's the problem, not them? And then, if that's the case, are you misremembering how good things were under Kamala and Joe? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. I do have some news from Politico that's not good. It says even some Trump allies seem to see him veering off course. He should be doing better. Steve Wynn had a meeting with him. He told him, "Look, you're not focused on things. It's going the wrong direction because you're not focusing on the key issues," is what the report in the Politico says today. But look at this. Egg prices are spiking. Once again, from CNN, they spiked by 28.1% in August from 12 months ago. 28% increase in your eggs from last year. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, thank you. Consumer confidence, this is from the New York Post today. Consumer confidence plunges to the worst numbers in 3 years as Americans grapple with inflation. That's bad. It's now the consumer confidence index plummeted 6.9 points in September, the steepest drop since August 2021, according to brand new data that just became available. We also have a shock poll. This is funny. Got lots of clusters of things. Notre Dame, the students, for the first time, flipped in 12 years and support Trump over Kamala. Isn't that amazing? Notre Dame. They usually support the liberal Democrat in charge. And it goes on and on and on. Look at this. Gen Z. This is out of Central Texas. Gen Z surrendering their pets. Inflation to blame in a new poll from Lending Tree. 1 in 4 Gen Zers have now surrendered their pets. They say inflation is to blame. 85% of pet owners say inflation is making pet care more expensive. More than 1 in 3 have gone into debt to take care of their pet. Wow. Don't worry, give up your pet. You're broke. You're working two full-time jobs or one full-time job and 2 part-time jobs. Keep doing it. It's working. Vote Kamala. It's going to keep going in the right direction. Can't you feel it? You're misremembered how bad it was under Trump. Okay, and I'm going to share more of this Gallup poll. It's really bad for the Democrats and Kamala. Who do you think has a better chance of winning the election as of today? Trump or Kamala? And what does Trump need to do to win? And do you think most of us are misremembering how bad the economy was under Trump? And are you misremembering also how Kamala and Joe's 3.5 years on the economy actually have gone? I mean, maybe it's gone very well for you, maybe? And do you think Kamala's economic plans will work for you? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. And then the liberal MSNBC Kamala supporter was doing an interview, and she said that Kamala is simply dodging the questions, which is very fascinating. Let me play the right one for you here. Hold on one second. Let me play the right one here. Hold on. Okay, the one I want to play is right here.
Talk about that answer. I do, but here's what's a little tricky. She doesn't answer the question around if the GOP is controlling the Senate, if she can't raise corporate taxes, where is she going to get the money from, to expand the child tax credit and do all the things she wants to do. And she says, we just have to do it. And that's great, and that's a campaign promise. But the issue is, if it means we're just going to borrow again, then what we're doing is we're just never addressing the deficit. And back in the days when you were a proud Republican, debts and deficits mattered.
Okay, so that's a woman who is rapidly endorsing Kamala and interviewed her today, and she's dodging the question. All right, so that's a problem. All right, lines wide open, chime in right now. Who do you think has a better chance of winning? What does Trump need to do to win? And do you think most of us are simply misremembering how bad the economy was under Trump? And do you think Kamala's economic plans are going to work for you? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Let me share more of this Gallup poll. It is very bad for Kamala and the Democrats. Okay, by 46 to 41, Americans say the Republican Party is better able than the Democrat Party to address what they think are the most important problems facing the country. This has been highly predictive of outcomes of Gallup trends dating back to 1948. The party rated as better handling it has won all but 3 presidential elections since 1948. Americans currently give the Republican Party 6 percentage point advantage as the party they think would do a better job of keeping the country prosperous by 6 points. Republicans have a 14-point advantage as the party that is better able to keep the nation safe from terrorism and other international threats. It's larger than that lead, 14 points with terrorism is larger than any previous election year. And then the political environment, they also further report Gallup from this poll that just came out with today. It's their third quarter political report. The environment suggests, it says the election is Trump's and Republicans to lose. Nearly every indicator of the election context is favorable to the Republican Party, and those who aren't essentially tied rather than showing a Democrat advantage. And then here's the top ones that I wanted to share with you, too. The party better able to handle the most important problem. Republicans by 5 points. Overall, leaning 3 points towards Republican. Those are the two top strong indicators that Republicans are going to win and the president's going to win. The satisfaction, only 22% satisfied. That's a moderate relationship to past presidential victories, and it shows Republican moderate advantage. Economic confidence, negative 28 index score, which is a moderate relationship for the past presidential predictor, and Republicans have it on that one. Party better able to keep America prosperous. The Republicans by 6 points. That is a moderate relationship to the past presidential winners. Republicans have the advantage. Percent approval of job approval, president, 39 points. That is a moderate indicator that Republicans' president is going to win. Party favorable ratings, Republicans by 1. It doesn't really help either party. That's a draw. Better able to help keep America safe from international threats. Republicans win it by 14 frickin' points. And that is going to help them, but it's not the most strongest indicator they're going to win. Preference for government activity, 6-point Republican, but that's a small indicator of helping. Congressional job approval, 20%, doesn't help anybody. So there's no Republican, no Democrat favoring of this, and it's amazing. There's only 2 categories as a draw. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are all Republican advantage. This is a very good time to be Trump and the Republicans. Trump's message is off. He's got to stop talking about things that don't mean anything to the people and start talking about the economy, inflation, unleashing prosperity, energy, what he's going to do for us with taxes, jobs, and a lot of what he's doing and saying, I like. A lot of the Trump tariffs that are being knocked by Democrats today and all the time were kept by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and in fact enhanced. So, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's going on right now. But the stuff saying that, Haitian migrants are eating pets is not good. Saying they're destroying that town because there's way too many been brought in is a factual and good thing to do, among others. And he's pointing out another town in Pennsylvania as well, a small town. I think it's something, I can't remember. It's like Chamois, Pennsylvania, or something of that nature. Anyways, coming up next, your call, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I've got some more on this, too, to share with you on whether or not Kamala Harris should visit the border, according to one pollster, because she's planning on doing it. And I'll tell you what he thinks is pretty interesting. And the debt. How bad is our debt and what's it doing to our country with Democrats? It's next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Under Trump, real wages grew 7.7%. Under Biden, they've declined 2.1%. So the American worker is the most vulnerable. So the tax policies he articulated, no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, they benefit the people that need the help the most to restore their income so they can meet the higher cost of living today.
That is John Paulson. His headline says, billionaire investor on candidates' tax plans on CNBC, with his complimentary there on that. Kamala also calling for pathways to citizenship for the millions of illegals here in America. She wants mass amnesty.
There are people there that are stressed, that feel that they're at capacity. Communities around the country that have legal immigration, many have said we're at capacity. And many feel like the government has said to them, well, adapt, sit down, be quiet. This is how it is. What would a Harris administration do for those communities who've taken in many, many legal immigrants but are at capacity?
Well, first of all, we do have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed. And if we take a step back, months ago, some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress came to...
She goes on and she says we need pathways to citizenship for the millions of illegals here in America, which is mass amnesty. It goes on another minute and 5 seconds. Anyways, let me read to you what my buddy Eric Erickson blogged about it today. Harris has previously promised to unilaterally mandate a pathway to citizenship for 2 million Dreamers, illegal immigrants brought into the U.S. as children. But after positioning herself as a border state prosecutor against Trump, she's now backing away from the promise. Every day in the life of a Dreamer who fears deportation is a long day, she said in 2019. Dreamers cannot afford to sit around and wait for Congress to get its act together. Their lives are on the line. Apparently, she no longer believes their lives are on the line. Interesting. Who do you think has a better chance of winning the election as of today? What does Trump need to do to win? And do you think most of us are simply misremembering, quote unquote, how bad the economy was under Trump, as Kamala's surrogate Chris Coons, Democrat senator from Delaware, says on CNBC yesterday? And are you misremembering also Kamala and Joe's 3.5 years on the economy? Has it actually gone well for you? Do you think her economic plans are going to work for you? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. 4 lines open. Morgan, Oak Cliff, what do you got, WBAP?
I definitely do not think our economy is going to do well with Harris in office. She could be backing out on these promises, but I think they're just fake. It's just fake so she can get the vote. I believe that she is going to promise more illegals to be coming in, and this is coming from somebody whose family comes from immigrants. My grandmother did it the right way. She got her paperwork done, and she did not work hard to bring her family here for this to happen, like for it to just be handed to people who can't do it the right way. We just don't believe in that. I feel like our economy is failing. We have so many Americans that are suffering right now, and there's people who, yes, they're coming from other countries, probably in their own suffering, but, we need to focus on our citizens, because our citizens come first at the end of the day, and our citizens are hurting.
So, where's your grandma from? Where are your folks from originally?
My grandma's from Mexico.
You know what? When they say, so you're a Mexican American or American Mexican, if you want to say.
Half Mexican. My dad's black, so I'm biracial. So this is coming from somebody who's biracial.
So literally, you're saying that you want Trump, not Kamala, and you're saying that their policies are hurting the country. And you say immigrant. Your grandma's an illegal immigrant. See, the Democrat.
She came here.
I said that legal immigrant, right? And what I'm I'm saying is the Democrats and Kamala say that all illegals are immigrants as well as the legal ones. They confuse it. They lie. They call them migrants. They are illegal immigrants. Then they have flooded into this country. 15 million, 2 million are gotaways. We don't even know who they are. 4 of them just got arrested for raping 3 children and 1 woman. Separate instances and 4 illegals that got over that are gotaways. They never got interdicted because they're too busy processing Kamala and Joe's illegals at the ports of entry. So, so you're voting for Trump, and this is your first time ever, huh?
This is my first time voting, and I'm definitely voting Trump. Yeah, we cannot. We don't even travel to Mexico because of how dangerous it is. And then they're letting them in. It's crazy.
From a Hispanic African American. Wow.
Yes.
Welcome to the party. We appreciate you and the OC.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, coming up next in the Chris Crock Show, Zelensky does a Democrat campaign stop for Kamala and Joe in Pennsylvania with our warplanes and on our dollars. Do you want to go after the Democrats for this? I do. Next. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Zelensky does a Democrat campaign stop in Pennsylvania, clearly supporting Kamala and the Democrats, pointing out the munitions factories in Pennsylvania, making the bullets for his war with Russia with our warplanes on our dime. He's flying around on the taxpayers' dime, going to Pennsylvania, literally the do-or-die state for both Trump and Kamala. And remember, Trump was impeached. Remember this? For having a call with Zelensky. Remember that? And so this is way, way, way worse. James Comer, the House, the big investigator for the House Oversight Committee, is now saying he says he's investigating the Biden-Harris administration into the alleged use of taxpayer-funded resources to fly Ukrainian President Zelensky to battleground Pennsylvania right before the November election, Fox News says. We all know this. It was in the news. And they penned letters to the White House, Pentagon, Justice Department seeking documents regarding the administration's alleged misuse of government resources to allow Zelensky to interfere in the 2024 presidential election. He says, you guys impeached Trump over abuse of power theory. He tried to use Zelensky to benefit his 2020 campaign. That never went through. But Zelensky, on American taxpayer-funded flight, flew to Pennsylvania, battleground state, which has been described as the trickiest battleground for Kamala to win. We want to determine, Comer says, whether Biden-Harris attempted to use a foreign leader to benefit Vice President Harris' presidential campaign, and if so, necessarily committed an abuse of power. So Zelensky flew in, met with Governor Shapiro. We also remember that Zelensky recently did an interview where he was critical of Trump and J.D. Vance, calling Vance radical, too radical. He further stated that Trump and his administration would not be able to stop the war, despite being a Trump campaign promise. So he is clear, and he said Kamala would be great. He basically endorsed Kamala the other week. So you have a foreign president coming into our country, flown in on our taxpayer dimes, on our military plane, doing campaigning for Kamala and Joe and the Democrats in Pennsylvania. Do you want this investigated? Do you want Biden impeached? And, well, I should say, do you want an impeachment investigation, an inquiry of Biden and the Democrats? Do you want the Republican House to do this investigation? Do you feel that this is worse than what Trump was alleged to have done? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. 800-288-WBAP. So are you okay with your tax dollars and military being used for a foreign leader to campaign for Kamala and the Dems in a swing state? Do you feel the Democrats and Biden and Kamala, what they did with Zelensky, should be investigated and impeachment inquiries launched? I sure do. Let me share this from my buddy Eric Erickson's blog. For 8 years, Democrats bemoaned interference with elections, American elections. The media doing editorials and anchors describing Russian interference. They are strangely silent over the latest foreign interference into our elections. Zelensky of Ukraine, on taxpayers' dime, going to, surprise, surprise, highly contested Pennsylvania to thank munitions manufacturing employees. He attacked in an interview J.D. Vance as too radical. And so a foreign leader is literally attacking our vice presidential candidate. And he goes on and says, my buddy Eric says, I'm a staunch supporter of Ukraine, da-da-da. But it's crazy. And he says, right, he says Zelensky has nothing to lose because he's presumed, based on the American biases, that Trump would shut down all funding for Ukraine immediately. And he's right, and he should. Now, Trump wouldn't actually defund it totally, but he would end the war. And that's what I want, and that's what everybody else wants. By the way, did you know that the Biden administration looked at the so-called victory plan by Zelensky? Hey, look at my victory plan. It has nothing new in it, they said. It's nothing. Biden's folks looked at it and said there's nothing new in here. It's the same stuff, and asking to allow them to use the ATACMS missiles to use them inside of Russia, to attack inside of Russia, which Biden won't do. So it's like, hey, all the same thing you're doing now, plus let me hit the ATACMS, use them inside of Russia to attack Russia inside with American missiles, to which we've said, and we should say, no. All of this is a stalemate, and it's never going to go anywhere. And everybody knows it, but nobody wants to admit it except for folks on my side. So there you go. And I agree with my friend. This was disgusting. Deep down, many of you know it. Who deny it actually know it. It was bad. Bad precedents like this keep just getting set. Isn't this incredible? A foreign leader being brought into America on our dime to politic for the Democrats. It's incredible. It's incredible. 800-288-WBAP is our number. Bill in Dallas, WBAP, hello.
Yeah, this is Bill. Yeah, I think it's unconstitutional. I mean, there's a foreign national is now interfering with an American election, and it doesn't matter if he's supposedly an ally. Some people think he is, some people think he isn't, but it's no different than a Russian or a Chinese or a communist, and they know that's wrong, and they're so desperate. You know, the Democrats will just about do anything. There was one of the Kamala Harris acolytes said that Trump should be extinguished even a couple days after the second attempt on him. And they really will do anything to get elected, and it's not constitutional. And I hope the people wake up and see it before Election Day.
Yeah, so I assume that you agree that this is disgusting. A foreign leader on a taxpayer-funded visit to attack the other campaign and talk up the current campaign and the Democrats. It's pretty nakedly, obviously wrong. And I want an investigation. Do you?
I want an investigation, but more than that, I want when Trump is elected, I want it is turned over to the FBI and the CIA, and I want people in jail. I want people doing some time.
Yeah, because this is literally using our government to transport somebody, bring them in, and politic in the most important swing state. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Yeah, I appreciate your call, Bill.
Thanks.
Thank you. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Can you believe this? His victory plan was a joke. And that comes from the Biden people. There was nothing new here, they said. So, I mean, it's over. This is a stalemate, and it always will be. And I heard on Martha McCallum's show today, I heard, what's his name, Admiral John Kirby, the spokesperson for the Defense Department for Biden. And he was like, no, it's not a stalemate. And she's like, well, then, so how's this going to be won? What's going to happen? This is a stalemate. Nobody is going to win. Russia is making gains continuously. Ukraine has a large swath of rural land in Russia, but it's something, but they're not going to win. They cannot win this. And everybody knows it. And so one of the other important points is Joe and then President Kamala will continue this war in perpetuity. They and the industrial military complex, all the defense contractors, all of them will get wealthy and just keep pumping stuff out. We're going to pay for this war. It is not going to be winnable. Trump will come in there and he will end this stuff. He will put this together and settle it and not allow this to. This is not going to go in a good way. This is not going to go anywhere good down the road. I'm going to say it one more time to close this out is a general. I believe it was General Frank Keating, is a 4-star general who used to be in the Pentagon under the Trump administration before retiring, and now he heads up the Institute for the Study of War. And he said that wars are begun by mistakes. Wars are begun by mistakes. Nobody ever intentionally enters a war. And how do you have a mistake happen that begins a war? This is exactly how you do it. This keeps going on and on and on. And I mentioned this earlier in the show. Putin has obviously joined forces at the hip with China. They are also helping Iran, and Iran is helping them. Iran is sending them ballistic missiles to Russia to help them with the shortage of it because of Ukraine. Iran is sending them their drones to Russia. Today it came out that Russia is working with China inside of China with a drone factory to make these brand new war drones for Ukraine. And Russia is providing all the intelligence that Iran needs for more missiles and more ability to strike Israel. So Russia, Iran, and China and North Korea are all locked at the hip now. And Joe and Kamala did that. Remember what Joe said earlier. Kamala was involved in everything. I gave her the rings, the keys to everything, and she was involved in everything I did with foreign policy and everything. Here it is real fast. See if I get my little button, hit my little button right. Here we go, and here it is.
What advice have you given the vice president about how to win?
Be herself. Look, she is smart as hell. As vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility. She has the energy, she has the intelligence, she has the grit, she has the stamina, and she has the guts to do the right thing.
Yeah, he gave her the ability to do everything. She did it all. So what you're seeing now, what you have seen for 4 years, is her. He let her run it with him. So there you go. All right, coming up next, I'm going to give you the latest on illegals. Over 1,000 illegals have been registered to vote in this state. And that's one state alone, over thousands, 1,260. I'll tell you where that happened and why. Tren de Aragua in Dallas. I have a brand new report that is very, very, very scary about Tren de Aragua attacking a woman in Dallas today. That just came out. 4 illegals with 4 separate rapes arrested today on one small island. All that and much more coming up next on the Chris Crock Show at 48 after the hour on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. There's just too many to even bring up right now, but I'm going to share with you some of the latest on the illegal invasion of Kamala and Joe Biden. Here we go. A Salvadoran illegal who was a Godaway that came in under Joe and Kamala because, again, it's all because our border patrol has said they're massively overwhelmed. We have a record high numbers for unrelentingly for 3.5 years. And so the Border Patrol is just processing illegals. They're not able to go and stop the gotaways. That's why more than around 2 million gotaways have gotten in so far. 2 million people who we don't know who they are. I mean, that's more than the city of Dallas. The city of Dallas, last time I checked, has I think 1.5 million residents, and the county has 2.5 million, I think, something of that nature. And little old Nantucket Island alone has 4 gotaways. One from El Salvador, who was charged last month with 3 counts of aggravated child rape. The victim is a Nantucket child. Another Salvadoran illegal who came as a getaway was charged in July with raping a Nantucket child. A Brazilian illegal who was a getaway charged in June with sexually assaulting a Nantucket resident. Also, a previously deported Guatemalan illegal who re-entered as a getaway was charged last month with sexually assaulting a Nantucket resident. 4 sex offenders that are illegal that don't belong here, all let in by Joe and Kamala because they've overwhelmed our Border Patrol, stamping and saying yes to millions of illegals invading this country and taking it over. They all were freed after arrested because Massachusetts is a sanctuary state, so ICE came in and caught these child and adult rapists, according to them. We have a Salvadoran illegal migrant who was caught and released at the border from Kamala and Joe in June. So 4 months later, he's arrested related to a murder of his girlfriend in June, Montgomery County, Maryland. We have this from Allie Beth Stuckey today. Retweeted this. It doesn't seem to be mainstream yet, but young Dallas woman was tortured and robbed by a group of 4 Hispanic men Saturday. She came home from dinner to find these men who spoke no English in her garage. They dragged her inside, pinned her down while they beat her. They took her cell phone, car keys, and jewelry and slashed her paintings and furniture. She managed to get to her alarm, and when it started going off, they left. Miraculously, she wasn't raped or murdered. Police are confident this was yet another instance of Venezuelan gang activity. That's Tren de Aragua. TDA, best known for violence and sex trafficking of young girls, Tren de Aragua now has a significant presence in the Dallas area. Our police have confirmed that they're here in Dallas now, as well as my buddy who was in charge of border operations and counterintelligence and terrorism at the border, who's now retired DPS Captain Jason Jones. He's a Newsmax border correspondent, but he actually helped craft the brand new policy that was just released by Governor Abbott, designating Tren de Aragua as a level 1 gang and sponsor and terrorists. So that gives synergy with local, state, and county cops to work together to get Tren de Aragua and kill them and quash them. They have a hotel they've been based out of in El Paso. They have a massive terrorist office on the other side of the border in Juarez. And a lot of their operations from Juarez are going up into El Paso and are operating from there. They're in San Antonio. They're in Dallas now. Do you think they're just going to sit quietly? You think they're not going to be like they have been, terrorizing and raping, I don't know about rape, but committing mass violence and dragging women by the hair at gunpoint and stealing all the jewelry from the jewelry store? Taking over apartment complexes. Do you think that's not going to happen here? In New York, the gangs have taken over. Tren de Aragua has done wide swaths of organized crime, shot at cops, and they do a lot of organized theft rings of women on the streets, their purses, their phones. They're doing it in Macy's and all sorts of stores. And when they get interdicted, they're beating or shooting cops and others. This came in, too, from New York Post today. Kids as young as 8 are drugged and trafficked illegally into the U.S. by smugglers by posing as their parents, Border Patrol warns. Kids as young as 8 being drugged and smuggled. They rescued children caught up in 2 different instances of smuggling. One instance, the alleged traffickers had birth certificates for multiple kids whom they weren't related to. They said they've observed increasing numbers of smugglers posing in family units to recycle the kids. A few years ago, when they were coming in mass, we had to let family units in. People kept coming in. After a while, we noticed the kids were the same, but the parents were different. They were recycling the kids. I hate thinking about it because there were thousands of kids who knows where they all ended up. I want you to remember that Kamala and Joe have lost 300,000 kids. They don't know where they are. 300,000 illegals that they brought in, they have lost them. They're gone. They're doing slave labor and sex labor right now. They're being disgustingly abused, thanks to Kamala and Joe. And more will happen if you put her in. All right, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. The Middle East flares up with war. Joe Biden says an all-out war could happen in the Middle East today. And Iran attempts on Trump's life. All that's next.